Okay, I guess let's start at the spot where everybody probably wants to start, and that's going to be with the main elements, the vocals, the lead, and the handpans. I'll start with the handpan. So the handpan, everybody really commented that they really liked this. Well, surprise, it's a loop from the Melodic Handpans pack, which is out now on Basic Waves. It's this pack here, and that's made by Callum Can't Sleep. And yeah, it's a really nice pack. He recorded all these sounds himself. But yeah, I did quite a bit of processing on the sound. Here you can see in the group there's a whole bunch of processing, and here on the inside we've also got a lot of processing. So this is how it sounds on its own. Let me go through and just turn everything off quick, so we can see how it sounded before. And then I'll take you through the processing. Let me just delete that. Okay, obviously it's distorting now because it's too loud. Let's just turn that down. Yeah, so I really liked the sound of it, but the problem was I really struggled to get this to stand out in the mix because the handpan is so resonant. It has all of these kind of like low mid frequencies, and that's really like where all the harmonic content is around here. I always had the issue where every time I turned it up to be loud enough in the mix, it would start clipping or it would be hitting the limiter too hard. So really this huge processing chain is all about trying to get this thing to stand out in the mix, and really like translate. So yeah, I'll take you through the processing. So first of all, here I cut out a lot of those harmonics, the fundamental like resonant frequencies, and boosted a bit around 1K. And then added OTT, and that's at 41% with the time at 617. So this is just going to like compress it and really like almost like flatten out the sound. Basically just parallel compressing it and turning up things that are too quiet and bringing down things that are too loud a bit. Okay, and then I've got this chain here. And that's got some more EQ, reducing that fundamental again. Compressor on there. Let me just turn these things off. So the compressor is just doing some soft clipping to control the peaks a bit. Then I got a utility turning everything down, and this Pro L controlling more peaks, trying to just get it louder and louder. And then I got another utility afterwards. You can see this was not like this chain wasn't something that I planned out in my head before I did it. It was like just kept on trying and trying and trying, and eventually got to this setup. So that's just a filter, bringing it in over time. And then we've got CQ. So this is like a analog based EQ. And I'm boosting the highs a bit on this, and a little bit in the mids. And then I've got a vintage verb, and that's really just for like some transitions. You can see it's at 0%. That's a really big reverb. So if I just turn that on, you can see it at the end, it kind of fades in. And then a little bit of a dip there. Pro L2 again at the end. Okay, so that wasn't doing anything. I was probably just using this to, well, it looks like just turn up the gain a bit. And probably also, I like to use Pro L2 to kind of just visualize the waveform and see if there's any huge peaks or anything. There was a little bit of gain reduction there. Okay, and then, wait, let me turn this back up to where it was, I think around -4. So yeah, back into this, I then used track spacer and sidechained it to the vocal, so that when the vocal hit, this handpan ducked out the way of it. And I did the same thing with the big lead. And so you'll see these start ducking. Probably around here. And then fades in again. So that's a great way if you're struggling to get something to stand out in a mix because other sounds are masking it, then track space is like an easy way to do that. Okay, so utility, just turning it up a bit more. And then what am I sidechaining to? The kick drum here. Yeah, a bit of sidechain ducking to the kick drum. And then some more split EQ. Sorry, I don't have split EQ before, but this is doing a bit of transient shaping. So here you can see I am reducing the transient of the high end. The transient, like if you just focus on this range up here, or if I solo the transient, you'll hear what I'm reducing. Like that really sharp, punchy transient at the beginning that's like quite harsh. And then this is the tonal portion of the frequency. So here you can see I'm taking the transient part and just reducing it. If I boost it, you'll hear it more. Okay, and then I've got another delay, and I think that's again for just some transitional stuff. Okay, more controlling of resonances here. And yeah, that was quite the process. So I also did a little bit of chopping of this. So I think I took a couple loops. Is it two different ones? Here you can see this one's loop 23 and this one's loop 1. And so I wanted this loop to not just keep repeating over and over again. I wanted some changes. So here you can see I kind of spliced a few together and then you get this change over here. I probably should have crossfaded them, but I mean you can't notice that click in the mix. Okay, all right, so next up is this big lead, this one. Okay, it's a huge lead with loads of effects in it, so let me just break it down, turn off all the processing. So the lead here is from Dreams Volume 3, Basic Waves. Again, I'll link these packs below in the description. But yeah, this is called the lead I Need You, and this is how it sounds. So it's a huge lead. I love it. And this is the MIDI. So we're playing basically F up to A, which is like a minor third, and then the minor second, and then basically just the octave over here. And then the response is just slightly different. We're going up to the 7, and then the 2, and then the 1. And most of the effects here are coming from Serum. So you can see there's no like real delay and reverb over here. I've got this transgate. Did I even use that? Oh, no, I think I was just testing that out, so I can delete that. And then the filter is not doing anything, and then this is just taking out some of the low end. And then most of the other effects are coming from this send. And the reason why I put it on Ascend was so that I could sidechain all of these effects, this huge delay. You can see with tons of feedback. I can sidechain it to the dry lead, which makes room for the dry lead to kind of pop through, and the delay doesn't wash over it and make it all washed out. So without the EQ and the compressor, this is how it sounds with all that delay. So you can see that's way too much. So then what I did was obviously put on this EQ, which takes out a lot of like that low mid kind of stuff. But it's still a lot. So you'll see when I sidechain this to the lead, the big lead post effects, this will start ducking and then the lead will pop through the mix again. Okay, then let's just silence that. And then I reversed, did like your typical reverse reverb, where I took the lead, kind of that big long tail, and just put it before the sound and reversed it. And so that sounds like this. And yeah, and this is how it sounds in context. Okay, let's go into, what else do we have here? We have some chords, some piano chords. So I'll take you through the processing of the piano and also the MIDI here. So these are the chords. If you don't like looking at the scale mode, I know some people don't. This is them. And so yeah, the key we're in is F minor. And I'm kind of just doing, I don't know, these chords just kind of feel more like a melody to me. It's kind of, I guess, the theme of the track. Dun, 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 boom, boom. So yeah, I love these chords, really happy with how they turned out. I'm not going to try and explain the music theory behind them because I don't think I really used much theory. It was more just putting down notes and seeing what sounds nice. All right, so let's have a look at the processing for it though. So probably most of you already know which piano this is going to be. So this is Noir Pure. It's a basic Pure preset. And then what I do is I play it at like very low velocity. You can see here at like 29. And that means I have to then boost the gain a lot. So I've got 24 dB of gain. A bit of sidechain. And then EQ, just taking out some of those muddiness. Boosting a bit around 1K. And then I've got a kind of similar thing to what I did with that big lead. Instead of using a send, I've done it like this with the audio effect rack. So I've got a dry signal over here if I solo that. That's how it sounds. And then the wet signal. So that's just got a delay on it and it's being sidechained to the main piano. And it's quite subtle, but it adds a nice bit of bounciness to the piano. And then Pro L2, controlling some of those peaks. Okay, and then we got the saw chords. And I don't really remember making these, to be honest, but let's have a look at the chain. So yeah, this is operator, and we've got a saw wave and a sine wave over here. And the sine wave is FMing the saw wave over here. And that's how it sounds. And then RC20 is doing quite a lot here, I think. It's got all that reverb on it. It's also got this wobble on it. A bit of noise, some distortion, and then... yeah, I think that turned out quite nicely. Alright, and then we've got this atmosphere sound, which is just an atmosphere from this Atmospheres pack, another basic waves one. Nothing special happening there, just a bit of EQ. Because we've got that piano in there and a whole lot of other instruments, that area can start getting really busy and really muddy. So it sounds nice without the EQ. Soloed, but in the mix I wanted to just reduce it to make some room. I've got a second piano here. Okay, so that's being played with a higher velocity. Also a slightly different melody here. So you can see lots of like little slight differences on the velocity to kind of humanize the piano. All right, so the last kind of melodic element here would be this piano. Oh, we've also got the arp. So hang on, I mean not the piano, the pad. So let's have a look at this pad. Probably my pretty standard pad. I use this pad in a lot of my tracks too. So this is Omnisphere and Sacred Shrine. That's the pad name. So don't go and use it because that's like my signature pad. No, I'm joking. Probably many people use it. And that sounds like this. So I've just made these chords that just sounded nice to my ear. Again, no real theory going on in here. I mean, I guess you could kind of see the theory behind it. We're going on the 3rd, and then the 5th, and then the 7th. I think that adds quite a lot to the track. It is quite subtle in the mix, but I feel like without it you would miss it. Okay, and then the last thing over here is going to be this arp, which is this one. In the mix. Maybe this is where I belong. So yeah, I think that adds quite a lot to it. And so the notes here are really just 2-note chords. So we got a fifth and then a third and then the second over here. And then the sound itself is this Saw Pluck 8 from Dreams Volume 3. And we've got a filter on it, which is making it sound quite like dark. And I'm just automating that around. Got a delay on it and a pan man. Moving that around. Yeah, I think this adds quite a lot to the track, to be honest. I added it sort of in the last minute, and it was one of those things that I just put it in, immediately sounded good. So I'm quite happy I added that. And not only in the breakdown, but at the end here, it kind of acts as like a nice outro to the track. Okay, let's have a look at the vocals and the processing behind them. So vocalist is Lauren Lemont, and I love working with her because she's actually a really good producer herself, and so the vocals always come really well recorded, and they're always timed well, and they're really tuned, so there's not a lot I need to do other than like basic processing. So let me take you through that. Let's go to a section where it's nice and full, I think around here. So I'm just going to solo them. Let's go to the chorus. Okay, yeah, tons of effects there on the sends. So I'm going to just turn those off for now. And let's have a look at the basic processing chain. So on the main vocal, so you can see I don't put any effects on the inserts. It's always just on the sends, and I think I might, no, in this case really just the sends. So let me just turn these off or delete them and turn that off. So this is how the main vocal sounded. I fall from grace, I'm coming up again. So I think the problem that I noticed with this, how it is now, is it's a little bit too dynamic. The tail goes a bit quiet, and the beginning of the phrase is a bit louder. So I wanted to really even that out. Well, first of all, I just removed a bit of like the rumble in the low end. I fall from grace, I'm coming up that stuff down there. And then added a soothe. I fall from grace, just to kind of reduce the fundamental in her voice a little bit. And then I've got La, which is an LA2A kind of compressor. And I always use two of these on pretty much every time I do a vocal track. It's always two of these and then one of these. I fall from grace, I'm coming. So those are doing like 3 dB of gain reduction, and they're basically pushing down the volume of this portion and making this portion therefore louder, reducing that dynamic range. And then I have this Pro C2, which is a much faster compressor. I fall from grace, I'm coming up again. And you can see it's doing like -4 dB. So in total we've got like 10 dB of gain reduction happening on the compressors, spread across them. And then even more compression here with OTT. So 25% here on OTT. I fall from grace, I'm coming up. Brings it a bit more closer, a bit more forward. The high end's a little brighter now. Yeah. And then some saturator. Got like 12 dB of saturation. I fall
grace, I'm coming up again.
So yeah, this really squashes the vocal. And then let's get into the wet processing here. So I've got a vocal reverb. So that's on this ambience preset, but the ambience preset is usually really short, so I just increased the decay to 4.8 seconds. Did a bit of EQing and sidechained it to the entire vocal bus, the entire vocal group here. This verse is one. And then I've got a vocal delay. So again, sidechaining to the verses and doing a bit of EQ to it. Also sidechaining to the chorus bus. Oh, probably shouldn't have done that. Although it's switched off, so I don't think it makes a difference. So the chorus, initially there was like this chorus over here, you can hear it. I decided not to use it.
I've been here before, back against the wall. I've been here before, I can't break my fall.
It's a nice chorus, but I just felt like there were too many ideas in the track already, and it made it feel a bit too like complex, like the track didn't really have an identity. It felt like it was just that extra layer that I didn't really need in there. You know, I already have this vocal and it's kind of already got a hook. The track's already got like two main leads with the handpan and that big lead, so I just felt like it was too much, so I ended up not using it. Anyway, so back to the main vocal. So that's, I've shown you the processing on that. And the trick with really getting a nice full vocal like this is having many different takes and harmonies and backing vocals. So I'm just going to quickly like solo each layer so you can hear them all. Let me turn off the reverb and delay because it's a bit much if I keep hitting the space bar. So those are just the backing vocals, and those all together now kind of make it nice and wide. And then I've got this harmony.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up again.
I love that harmony. And the second one.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up.
Those probably should have been panned, because that's the reason I have two of the same harmony. So that's my bad. But anyway, this is how they all sound together now.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up.
And then I got these high harmonies.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up again.
Oh, this one's got a bunch of wetness on it, which I probably should have turned off. But anyway, these little mistakes worked in the end. So anyway, let me put it all together again, all of them.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up again.
And with the processing, the wet processing.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up again.
That's bothering me now. I kind of want to turn it off.
I fall from grace, I'm coming up again.
Okay, so that's the vocals. And then on the main group, I've again got a little bit of reduction in the mids. Side chaining, I think that was probably side chained to the kick. Or supposed to have been, but anyway, another mistake. But yeah, let's go into the drums. I guess that's the last element really. The drums and the bass. So here I've got like, I don't usually do this, but in this case I process the kick, the tom and the bass all together in the same group. Alright, so this is the kick drum. It's kick 15 from the drum pack. bound to divide drum pack. It's this one. And then it's going into drum reverb. So yeah, I've got this drum reverb send, which is cross stick room preset. With a bit of the low end taken out, because I didn't want all that low end in there. So that's the kick drum. And you can see I have a utility on here because I was playing with flipping the phase around to see if I can get it to fit better with the kick and the bass. I mean, with the bass and the tom. So that's something you can always try and just see, like, does each element kind of come through the mix nicely? And if not, try flipping the phase of your kick, and you might notice that, like, your bass or your tom sounds a bit cleaner and clearer and louder. And try that on, like, each element separately and see. So yeah, let's have a look at the bass. So the bass, Diva, this is not a preset, it's just something that I made. And we've got basically two oscillators here in different octaves, both saw waves with a little bit of reverb on it, set to mono. I think I just started with the stock preset when Diva loads, because I know that the plate reverb is on there. Again, most people probably wouldn't put reverb on their bass line, but I did. Let's have a look at the actual notes here. So yeah, these are basically following the chords. Dun, dun, dun. So we're moving down from the 1 to the 7 to the 6, and then up to the 5, 3, 1. Doing some decapitator. It's actually doing quite a bit of saturation. Sidechain. And then Pro Q3, reducing the sub a little bit. Track spacer, sidechaining to the tom. So there's two toms in this track. We've got the cajon tom, which is this one. And then there's another tom somewhere else. Where is it? I don't know where it's gone. Oh, right there. Okay, so let's have a look at the tom. Oh, and you can see here, sorry, there's a bit of automation on the bass line. And I really like how this automation, like if you pay attention to the track, you might have noticed it, but I think it's more just a treat for producers to hear rather than something that the normal person would notice. Because the bass line's not like really prominent in the track. But anyway, I've got some glide automated on here so that we have a nice kind of glide every once in a while instead of hearing this. Oops. Over here you hear this. Slight difference, and over here, very slight. And then a little bit of like frequency cutoff opening. And here's quite a big glide, I think. Okay, and then the tom. So this is a tom cajon. I can't actually remember where that's from, but I've used it in quite a few tracks now. Bit of EQ. I'm not using this filter, it looks like. Oh, it's automated on and off. Yeah, reverb not being used. Bit of sidechain to the kick. And that's that. This is the pattern. Here you can see like the volume, the velocities are different, so the volume is going to be not exactly the same each time. Again, a little bit of humanizing works wonders, and I'll often do a bit of humanizing here. So here you can see the pitch, it's got 9% on random over here, so each hit will sound slightly different pitch-wise. Okay, let's go into this second tom, which is this one. It's playing a different pattern. But I think they do something cool together. And this is from that Afro tom rack that I have on my Patreon. And yeah, let's listen to the kick and the bass and the toms together. So this is pretty much the whole low end groove. Okay, then we get into the hi-hats, and here we've got a 505 hat, a bit of randomization on it, and we've got a 707, which is kind of adding a bit more brightness. And it's all very straight. I didn't want to like that kind of like pumpy feel. All right, and then the shakers group. So this ended up being shakers plus Atmos because some of the loops in here got nothing to do with shakers, and I just ended up putting them together because of my shitty workflow. I don't know why. So the first one is this. And I think I did a bit of clip modulation. No, I didn't. Oh, I used Shapebox. Yeah, so I'm just side chaining this. And this is just some loop I found on Splice. And I just looped a portion of it that I liked. This one, some shakers that again I found on Splice, I think. And I just took out all that low end from them, and all the mids. And this is from the PML pack. It's PML, what was this one again? I can't remember what SVT stands for. I'll find out and link it again. But yeah, it's a really nice shaker by Chords. And then I got this, something I found on Splice. I think I had a bit of a Splice day when I was working on this track. So without any EQ. Reducing that peak over there. And then a tambourine from the Oliver pack on Splice. And then another shaker from PML. I saturated a bit, and now I can hear a bit of low end in it, but oh well. I mean, if you have a look here, you'll see that low end, I think. Probably should have done that. Right, so onto the fills. So yeah, like I said, the fills are a really important element in this track, even though they only happen quite like infrequently. I try to make them sound really nice. So you can see they're made up of quite a few layers. So if I just solo this fill here, actually let me play it from here. And in context, it adds quite a lot to the track. So it's made up of a few layers here. I've got this cashmere kind of like clap sound. And then I've got this bongo. And that's got a lot of reverb on it. yeah, that's how that sounds. And then I've got this snare, which is from Addictive Drums. Just got some processing on it. Adding a lot of high end. And some more of that snap at like 2K. And then I got this on the last hit, this reverb. Clap reverb. I don't know where that sample's from, but I've always just had it. Yeah, and so altogether they sound really nice. And then I've got these kind of like orchestral little fills here. I think that was pretty stretched, yeah, it's like original BPM is 140. And I did a bit of pretty heavy EQing. That's how it sounded, but then I did this. Added a bit of delay. And that sounds like this. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have this snare roll, Mark Knight pack, and this one is just another sample that I've always had in my library that I built from this Alesso 909 sample that I think a friend got. Anyway, it's literally just a 909 sample. And then the last thing is this ride loop. And that's from Gentle Hats. That one. And that just adds some energy to it. Okay, that's it for this track. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.